So here I have placed a lot of target points. I have used collision boxes for target points because it's easier for me to like place them in the world. So if you want to place like another target, or if you get this project new, you can just go to, I guess it's here on the place actors, you can place a trigger box and it's going to work like a charm. So you can just place a trigger box, but you can also work with trigger spheres or capsules. And if you click here on play, as you can see there, it appears in here. It appears in here. If you go down to collision settings, collision presets, and choose to custom, if you go here on the trace responses, enable the visibility to be blocked by the traces, then you're going to be able to see that we have a visible square appearing for us, which means that's a target point. But then we have, of course, we have other checks to check if that target point is suitable for us to be able to like actually go for it to that target. If you have a target that is on the top of something here, it's going to work. And so let's test it out. As you can see there, you can choose many animations. I'm choosing this one, but you can choose front twist flip. And it works like so. So we also have this rope physics thing here, which looks very awesome. You can also choose the material. Maybe you have like a texture type of material that you want to place and set as your rope. Set it as a texture, as a material on your rope, you can. And yeah, so you have to press the left mouse button to do the action. So yeah, I guess let's go for the tutorial then. I'm going to explain parts by parts so you don't get confused. So you don't need to worry about anything of this because we're going to go by parts. I'm going to disable the animation blueprint of my character because I want to go and present to you guys how you can set up the rope physics first. So I'm going to disable the animation class, so the character is going to be on the A pose as expected. I'm also going to create a new rope physics, so I'm going to create a new actor. So as you can see here, I already have an actor called BP Cable, which I have the component inside of it called Cable. You don't need to download anything from it, from anything. You don't need to download anything. You can just add a new. So what you're gonna do, you're going to just create a new actor. Let's create a new blueprint class. I'm going to name it to be BP_cable2, and I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to add a cable component. And that's actually the rope physics, right? Here you can set the rope physics. I'm going to let the settings of the rope that I have on the comments below or on the description. So the most important thing here is to uncheck the attach start, let it to be false. The cable length, it's up to you. I let it to be 180. The number of segments is 20, solver iterations 4, width is 4. Of course you can increase it, but that's not too much realistic, I think. So I'm going to let it 4 or 5. It's a good cable width. And you also, of course, you have the option to choose your material. So that's very much it. I'm going to do it right now. So I'm going to do the same things that I have done for the other cable. I'm going to detach the cable, the attach start, let it to false. I'm going to choose the cable length, number of segments. This is 5, 4. And the cable width is going to be 20. Now let's scroll down to collision presets. I think I have a collision. I think I have a setting here that I haven't chosen yet. It's about collisions, to collide. Let's go to advanced, and we're going to enable stiffness and enable collision so that the rope can actually collide with the environment, right? So if I drag and drop here, as you can see, it's colliding with this object here. It's very fun. So I'm going to delete this because I don't actually need it to be in the world. We're going to spawn it. So what else do I want to do with this rope physics? Now, here on the collision presets, you can choose to custom. And then here on the pawn, you can ignore it so that the rope physics does not actually collide with the capsule of the character. So the character has a capsule and the rope physics could collide with it. Now it's up to you if you want for it to be able to collide. So I'm going to ignore it because it can avoid some bugs. Yeah, so I'm going to choose I think I have a better red. I don't know. Now we're going to learn how to place the target points like I have here. So as you can see, I have this little squares like this. So how we can actually place them is going to the place actors and go to the trigger box. So if you drag and drop the trigger box here in the world, you're going to be able to see that we have it here. And now the thing that we're going to do here is to go to the collision presets, go to custom, and then we're going to block the visibility for the trace responses because we're going to use a trace for detecting those target points, which is going to only detect the visibility of the traces, right? So for the other objects, you're going to select all the blocks, all the surroundings, and then you're going to go to the object type, and you're going to ignore the visibility for the trace responses, so that the trace can only detect those trigger boxes, right? And it's going to be a lot more performant. It's not going to over-calculate and calculate bad points. So the trace is going to only detect those target points. It's not going to detect the surroundings. Now here on the third-person character, as you can see, we have the begin play, and this allows us to execute a code as soon as the game starts. And after the add mapping context, we can spot the cable that I've just created. So I'm going to actually delete this one, or I'm just going to let it by side. I'm going to select the one that I have created, which is BP cable 2. I'm going to compile, save, and then I'm going to promote this return value to a variable. I'm going to promote the reference, and I'm going to call this BP cable 2. Now compile, save, and that's it. That's all you got to do here. So spawn an actor, choose the class, and promote it to a variable. That's great. Now for the next thing, we're going to check. We're going to make the code for checking for the target points, right? We're going to create a new variable called isGrappling. So we're going to create a new Boolean variable, and its default value is going to be false. Now we're going to use a branch, and if the character is not grappling yet, then we're going to spawn a sphere trace by channel. So how that's going to work? The sphere trace by channel is going to be on the front of the character, and it's going to be based on the camera. So where the camera moves, the sphere trace is going to be to that extent. So what's basically happening here is that if you go to paint, we have our character here. We have the camera. The camera is controlled by your mouse input. So as you move your mouse, the camera moves together. And we're going to use the position, the forward vector of the camera to determine where the trace is going to be at, right? So the sphere trace we're going to spawn is going to be like this. It's going to look like this, like a capsule. And it is going to identify all the targets that we need. Then we're going to check later for the distance and blah, blah, blah. But now we're just going to spawn a trace in front of the character based on where the camera is looking at. And it's going to make us to determine where the target points are. As you can see right here, when you see the little square white, it means that it detected the points, the target points, right? So that's pretty much it. We have some calculation to do here. I'm going to actually paste, I have copied and pasted this calculation here for a website called Blueprint UE, something like that. I'm going to let that for you guys in the description down below so you can access it. So you can just copy that variable, copy that link, that I have let there, which is this one right here. So you can just copy that like this, Control C, and then Control V in there, here. So inside this collapse graph. So if you don't know how to collapse a graph, then you can just select everything, right click, and collapse your nodes. So you're going to have a little graph. And this is basically just getting the follow camera location, getting the forward vector and calculating the distance so that he has the necessary length to reach the target points to be able to detect them. And here the radius is going to be 366. All right, so we're going to promote of the return value to a variable. And if you detect something, then it's going to be true, which is going to promote the structure value. What I do here is just draw a debug point, which is basically this little square right there. Oh, there's something flying on the... Yeah, because I spawned the BB cable. But as you can see, there is this squarish thing, squarish point. It basically serves for us to be able to see which are the possible target points that we can have. I'm going to delete this one that's right here. And that's it. That's the first thing to do here. Now for actually making the character to go for the target, we're going to firstly check if the character is already grappling. And we're also going to prevent button spamming. And then we're going to check if the hit target was successfully hit by the trace. So if the trace detects that we hit a target, then it's going to be true. And then we check for a walkable floor surface at the target location. So what's going to happen is that as soon as that trace hits this block right here, this target location, we're going to spawn a capsule trace or a sphere trace that is going to go from the top to the bottom. And as soon as you go to the bottom, it is going to hit this floor right here, which is going to tell us if there is a room or a floor for the character to actually stand on it. Okay, like this one. As you can see, there is the capsule or sphere trace. I don't remember which trace I used, but it's there and it works. So I have made a function. It's pure, and there it is. So it traces down against the target surface and find a walkable surface. And I use the sphere trace for objects. Now here we get the second trace structure, which is this one right here. And then we calculate the target rotation to face the target grapple point. So as soon as we press the left mouse button, we want to actually rotate the character to face that direction. And how I do this is just basically getting the find look at rotation function and getting the impact point of that second trace, which is this one, to find the rotation needed for the character to face that direction. And this is pretty useful. We also promote the distance float to a variable. We also promote this float to a variable, which is going to tell us what is the distance. This basically tells us what is the distance of the character to the target point. So this is for situations where you are like right here, and if you press if the player presses the left mouse button, I don't want the character to play any animation or do anything because he's right on it, right? He's right on the top of it. So what I want it to actually happen is the player to know that he's actually very close to the target. So we're going to check if it is too close. We're going to use that variable that we promoted there. And we're going to check if the character is too close by a range of 200. Now we can actually print that value if you want. So you can just go ahead and print it, but I don't want to do that right now. And here we allow the cable to be anchored to a specific location in the scene. Now that's this one is pretty interesting, because if we don't do anything like here, let me see what happens. Oh, we actually have to attach the cable to the character. So how we can do that? As you can see on the cable on my main actor, I have this code on the begin play, which is to cast to the third person character. And then we set the attach and to component to basically saying, hey, attach the end of that cable to the hand of the character. That's basically it. So I'm just going to go to the BP cable, and as we are spawning it in the world, as soon as the begin play is executed, as soon as we press on play, this BP cable is spawned, but it is not attached to the character. So to do that, we're going to use the begin play of the BP cable too. So as soon as it is spawned in the world, the event begin play is going to be executed. And what we're going to do is just to cast to the third person character, and we're going to get the player character. We're going to get its mesh. We want to access the socket, and then we're going to attach and cable. Actor is, I forgot, it's to component. So I'm going to get the mesh of my character and attach to and attach and to component. We're going to go to the component, and the socket name is going to be hand R. Of course, you can use other bones, but I'm going to choose this one because it makes more sense to me. Now you can also just create a new socket, but that's not for this video. But if you have any questions, you can comment down below. I can help you. So I guess that's pretty much it, what you gotta do here. Now, as soon as this BP cable is spawned in the world, this event begin play is going to be triggered, which is going to cast to the third person character. And then we're going to set the attach end to component, which is basically the anchor that holds this to here. So when I press play, as you can see, we don't have it attached to our hand, and the width is pretty much, it's too much. So the cable length also is too much, it's 316. I'm going to reduce that to 170. The width is going to be 4 or 6. I guess that's enough. Now the end location is going to be 0. Okay, now it's solved. Right. So as soon as you press left, the left mouse button, nothing happens yet, because I have to specify other codes. But here, the thing that I forgot to specify is the BP cable. So as soon as I get the BP cable 2, which is the actual reference, I'm going to get the cable component and attach the target. So now when I when you press play, something pretty funny happens is that the cable gets attached, it gets anchored to a specific position, to the actor's position. That's because the blueprint, the actor is staying on the same place. But if I were to set the actor location to the player location, get actor location, and I want to do that if I press the 2 key, so I'm going to press the left mouse button, it is going to attach to the actor. And then when I press 2, it's going to attach to my character. So we're just going to move the actor location. And then the endpoint is going to be anchored to where the actor is. Now, this variable I created for, which is important for the animation blueprint to know when I should start playing the grapple animation. Now, it's important for the character blueprint to know if we're already grappling before doing the action. Now, this variable is going to serve us to control the animation blueprint states and also to know if the character is already grappling or not. So you can prevent spamming issues. Now, here on this code, we're going to adjust the rotation to face the target. We're just going to use the same variable that we've just created there, which is the grapple target rotation. Actually put 2R, okay. Now if you go to the grapple get target info, we calculate what's the rotation needed for the character to be able to look at the target. And then we're going to use that variable to set the actor rotation. And that's it. Now we're going to move the cable to the grapple target location, which is pretty important. So what we're going to do when you press the left mouse button, I actually have 2 grapple cables right now, so I'm just going to delete this one. So what we want to actually happen when you press the left mouse button, we want one of the anchors, the end location of the rope to be attached and moved to that target location, like so. Nothing happens here because I have some error. I have a lot of errors. Now we're going to move the cable to the grapple target location. Now here we're going to move the cable to the grapple target location, which is basically move the end of the cable to the target location, right? So here we're going to save the current actor location of our character. We're going to reduce the gravity scale because we want the character to be floating a little bit on the ground before he actually grapples. Now here I created a timeline which is going to last 50 seconds. It is going to be delayed a little bit in the beginning, but then it's going to go up like so. And here we have the function to set the cable location. Now here I used the grapple target location, which we set right here based on the second trace hit result on the impact point. It's pretty simple. So I use that location, and then if you want, you can do some offsets here, but I don't personally change this at all. So here we're going to set the actual location. So we're going to get the reference of our BP cable and then plug that in there. Of course, I have other errors, so I'm going to fix them later. But the main point here is to see if it's going to go to the target location. So when you press the left mouse button, as you can see, it goes to the target location. And it works perfectly fine. Now, let me see what else I have to do. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Now I want to play the animation. I think we're going to have to work with the animations right now. So I'm going to start using the animation class, which is the ABP menu. And I'm going to go to that animation blueprint and see what we have here. So here I have some, of course, I think the main thing is to cast the third person character. So we're going to cast and get the reference. As soon as you get the reference, we're going to get the is grappling variable to check if the character is when the character started to grapple, and we're going to use this value to play the grapple animation inside one state machine that I have created. I'm going to show you later. So here I have the events. I have the end grappling to main states. I'm going to show you what this looks like right now. So here on the animation graph, I have separated the locomotion, main states, and the grapple hook, so that it can become more simple to see. I'm not actually using the control rig right now because I don't need it. Now the state machine is, I have done like this. I have added a state for the main states. I have used the cache of the main states to the output poles. And here I have passed to that transition if the character is grappling. And then I use this grapple start animation to here. And then I use this grapple start animation. And then for passing to the hold grapple to land, which is this animation right here, I use the get relevant animation time remaining, the grapple start rate, the grapple start state. So basically what I'm saying here is that when this animation finishes at this frame right here at 80.80, I want this animation to be finished. I don't want it to play anymore and proceed to the other state. And then after that, we're going to proceed to the hold grapple to land. We have several different animations here because we can choose between them by personal preference. Now, I think the front twist flip is the best. I have placed some sound notifiers here just for the sound effects. But you can choose to have whatever animation you have. Now, if we're going back to the main states, we're going to set the automatic rule based on sequence player in state. So what that means is that as soon as this animation finishes, we're going to go back to the main states. All right, so I also have some states on the event graph, which is called start grappling and end grappling. I have placed those notifies in here. So if you click on here, from the state from grapple start to hold, I have wrote a notification here, which is called start grappling, which is basically going to start an event inside my character blueprint. And I also have another event called end grappling, which is going to also do the same thing. As soon as we transition from grapple to start state to hold grapple to land, this state is going to be executed, and then we're going to execute this line of code here. So what's basically saying is to set the character to flying. We're going to stop the movement immediately so that we can zero the velocity. We're going to promote the actual current location to a variable. And we have this function here, which is basically saying, hey, place the character a little bit backwards as an offset, right? Just as an offset. We're going to run a timeline, which is going to move our character to the target position. So if our character is right here and then he moves to here, we're going to take 0.75 seconds for the character to actually move. So I have made this curve right here. I think it's pretty fair for the character to start a little bit faster than usual and then slow down a little. Okay, so as soon as the timeline is finished, we're going to run this event here, which is called end grapple switch states. So we're going to set the character movement to falling again, is grappling to false, and gravity scale back to normal. And here we have this end grappling animation transition event, which is called from the animation blueprint. So as soon as we pass from the state of holding to main states, we execute that event called end grappling event, which is just going to basically detach the rope from the character and then disable the is grappling variable. And I guess finally we have the move, the section of moving the cable to the grapple target location, which is pretty obvious. What I want to do here is just to move the cable to the target location. I think I have explained this earlier, but we have this curve here. The length is 0.50 seconds. So it is going to start slowly and then it's going to go up fast in the middle of 0.38. This is going to be connected to alpha, and then we're going to do some offset to place the grapple component in there. somehow it's not detaching. Go, let me see why. I have some, yeah, I have to choose the right reference, as I said earlier. So I'm going to get the cable. So for you to actually place the target points, it could be anything. It could be a trigger box. I think trigger box is better because they don't have collision, so you can place them anywhere you want. So make sure you just go to the collision settings and then turn on the visibility for the traces responses. So that you can just copy and paste, just Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, and then you can place anywhere in the world like this. And you can place it literally anywhere. So those are going to be your target points where the trace is going to be detecting them. You can also try experimenting with different animations and see which one works better for you. So yeah, I guess that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, you can comment down below, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.